I'm excited to introduce our next scientist, Jodi Frediani. Jodi joins us and she'll talk more about the photographs that she takes of wildlife and how she got to where she wants to be now, which is photographing some of her favorite animals. So welcome, Jodi. Thanks for joining us on Ask a Scientist.
My name is Jodi Frediani.
Jodi, what do you do?
At the moment, I consider myself a photographer, and I am an up-and-coming researcher in the whale world. I've been photographing largely marine life for the last 10 years. At the same time, I have, for about the same period, been taking fluke ID photos of humpback whales. Started in the Dominican Republic, and also gathering them wherever I travel and wherever I photograph. I've prepared 2 scientific posters to date, and I have a paper that is with a short communication or a note that is with a journal right now. I'm waiting to hear back from them.
Congratulations on that. That's exciting.
Thank you.
So where are you sitting right now?
I am in Santa Cruz Mountains, which is the north side of the Monterey Bay area. I'm probably a couple miles from the coast. I'm about 10 miles from the bay, and this is in California.
So you're in California now. Where do you work?
I work out of my own house, but for the last 10 years I've been taking photographs in Monterey Bay. For the last 20 years I've been taking photographs of humpback whales out on the Silver Bank in the Dominican Republic. And at this point, since I'm largely retired from the other jobs that I've done in my life, I've had the opportunity to travel, and so I take photos wherever I'm fortunate to travel to.
Silver Bank, all of us that do whales know that that's the hot spot in the North Atlantic Ocean during the breeding season for humpback whales. So you have to go offshore to get to them there and live offshore a week at a time to be able to.
Exactly. I've actually been going with out on the same boat with Gene since before he owned Conscious Breath Adventures. He was a crew member on the previous boat, and when a permit became available, he picked it up, and I've continued to go out with him ever since.
That's exciting. It's got to be really cool to see that many humpback whales in the same place.
It is pretty special, although sometimes we are very fortunate to have a lot of humpback whales in Monterey Bay, which is a feeding area for the North Pacific humpback whales. So I feel really blessed to be able to experience the whales both, even though it's a different population, both with their feeding behavior and on their calving and breeding ground.
So we know that you like whales now. Are there any other things that you like to photograph?
I love to photograph the natural world. So at the moment, I'm photographing the wild turkeys that are wandering through my property, the butterflies, the deer. If it's alive and it moves, I'll photograph it. Before I started sort of my whale life, I spent a fair amount of time in various African countries taking people on safari there. And instead of a teddy bear, which is what most American children are given when they are children, I received a knit elephant, and I still have her to this day. And always thought I was going to go study and research elephants, so somehow they morphed into whales.
So how did you get to be a photographer?
My father apparently always loved photography. It wasn't one of his best skills, but he gave me a Brownie Hawkeye box camera when I was 12 years old. And my parents both loved animals, so I went to Yosemite with my family and took some photographs and really liked them, and thought, if I can do this without knowing anything, then maybe I should take some classes. And I began to study at the local community college, started out at the university as a biology major, dropped out for 20 years to have a family and a farm, organic farm, went back to school and picked up studying photography.
That's pretty neat, and it's nice to know that you can go back to school later when people think that maybe it's too late. I did the same thing, so it's really great to share with people that just because you're doing something now, you don't ever have to give up something you always wanted to do. It's never too late to do it.
Yeah, this is very true.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my favorite question. Out of all the things you've done, all the places you've been, does one time stand out for you where you either saw something shocking or weird or totally exciting, or you said to yourself, wow, I didn't see that coming?
One, just one.
Your favorite?
So I will say this project that I and Caitlin Taylor have been working on for the past 4 years called Wild Monterey Bay, which is a storytelling project, we ask a similar question to the people we interview. And we've had to change the focus a little bit because the people we've talked to, it's almost always been a whale story, and we wanted to feature a variety of species. And for many people, it's really difficult to limit to one focus. So I kind of feel the same way. I had the opportunity to go out on the bay one day with just the captain and one other photographer on the boat. She had seen killer whales that morning, had a group of whale watchers, took them back, took us back out. There was another captain with his deckhand, and we observed this female with her 2 juveniles and her adopted son, who's an orphan male, and they were zipping all over the place. And at some, we couldn't quite tell what was going on. They looked like they were hunting, and the other captain said, "Wow, they've got something. I think it's a harbor porpoise." And then we saw this female, whose name is CA-138, a well-known transient killer whale in Monterey Bay, and she did this massive tail throw. And the next moment, she porpoised out of the water, and I'm looking through my camera and my long lens, and I see what looks like a bowling pin flipping through the air. And I said something to the equivalent of, "Holy crap," and then continued to photograph this spinning bowling pin, which actually turned out to be a common dolphin, hit the water, and her 2 juveniles came over, and they basically made the kill, and they fed on this dolphin. Now, I know for many people that kind of story is like horrifying because they empathize with the dolphin. But this is what these whales do for a living. And as I went back and I looked through my photos, what I realized was it was a training session where you could see bite marks, like teeth marks, on the body of this dolphin. And given the size differential, that it looked like a bowling pin compared to this very large killer whale, she could have just bitten right through in one go. But she didn't. She apparently grabbed it, she stunned it, and then she let her 2 offspring come in and make the kill. So that was very exciting for me, both photographically, and it was equally exciting because what I really love to do is photograph animal behavior. And this was some pretty special behavior.
That's an incredible story. It really is. And everybody's got to eat. A lot of people have been taught dolphins are warm, friendly, happy animals. And that's really not true very often, that they're not friendly and always smiling. They have some pretty intense behaviors. But everybody's got to eat. So it's pretty exciting to understand those behaviors. And thanks for sharing that. That's a great story.
Thank you.
How long ago was that?
I mean, maybe 5 years ago. It could have been a little bit longer than that. It all sort of blends together. I don't have enough landmarks along the way to keep track of time. So I would say, it was probably more like 8 years ago.
When we're out in the water and we do these events all the time, I really explain to my research assistants how important it is to be great at documenting what's going on, because everything blends together within a couple days even.
Exactly.
Well, that's all I've got for you. Thanks for taking the time to get here, introduce yourself.
Yes. Okay.